Today, I'm going to show you how you can set up a drop down list of reoccurring items in your database, like a category or what have you, and return all non duplicates into that same drop down list by using Corvid. What's up, you guys? Thanks for tuning in with your boy Nino. I got a tutorial for you guys today on how you can set up non-duplicate values in a drop-down list. So let's get started. So right now I am actually in my development mode, so you're gonna have to turn that on. And that's what you go up here to your development mode. If you don't have it turned on already, if you have it turned on, it's gonna show you turn off like it's showing me right now. So just click that button right there. All right. In this tutorial example, I have articles here and countries. Okay, so I just have basically articles about the countries, and these countries have articles. All right, so I just created these databases real quick, as you can see, and then all you have to do here is actually do everything in the page code. So first off, I just started off with like these two simple things here. You have the search by keywords and then search by content. Okay, continent. All right, so I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna add a repeater, and this repeater is what I'm going to use. Okay, so I just want to first like get everything connected and together in the repeater first. So once this, once this repeater comes up, I'll move this over here, put it under here, just like that. All right, now I need to get me the data collection on here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to Content Manager, and I'm going to go to Articles, and I'm going to add that Articles dataset. All right, so go to Settings here, choose Articles, Read Only 12 to be displayed, created new to old. All right, so I got that. Now I just need to hook up this repeater to my data set. So how I do that is click on the repeater, I say connect to data. All right, then I choose the data set, articles data set. Now I want my image to be connected to the image source that I have in my database. So I click here as image. So that image is gonna go in there. Now I need some information about this image, which I will put here the article title. And the tooltip is going to be the article title as well. This is not going to be linked because I don't have anything else for it to go to. Okay, so let's go back here. I don't need to change anything with this button, so I'm not going to. Anything with this text, I'm going to consider. Let's see, which text am I going to do? I'm going to do this one. I'm going to start off with that. And that's just going to be the title, all right? Or no, you know what? Let's make it the country. I'll just make it the country. All right, and then I'll go back to my other ones here. I'll go here and I will name that, let's see, I'll say that's content. Okay, and then I'll actually go back, since we're doing continents, I'm going to change that text back to continents and not country. All right, so this will be continent, so you guys can get the gist of what continents are showing. All right, now I do want to just add up a little bit more stuff to this. So this label is going to be connected to the country, just so we can give a little bit of background of what country that is. Okay, so let's see, we have this, that's another button that we don't need to use. All right, so I'm pretty much set up right now with this articles database. All right, so what I want to do now is I want to go down to my page code. All right, on second thought, I'm going to go ahead and switch this around a little bit. All right, and instead of making this continent, I am going to change that to the article title, and then this will be the article information in there. Okay, so I just go back here. Now I want this to be the country, so I'm going to go here and change that to country, which I have. All right, and I'm going to make this nothing. Well, I mean, I'll just put the content rich text there. Doesn't bother me a bit. All right, so once I got that straight, I'll go here to my page code, and this is where the magic happens. All right, so make sure that you have named everything the way that you want it to be named. All right, right here I have Dataset 1, and then here I have the search group, and this is the S keyword and the S continent. Okay, so that means search by keyword and search by continent. All right, so I want to just start off with a filter. Okay, so we're going to start off with a filter and get that filtering process working right now. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to say let last filter keywords. Okay, then we're going to say let last filter continent. All right, and then we'll add some other stuff in between there, but right now we'll just have that. All right, so now I just want to create a function, and I'm going to call that filter. All right, and that filter will have in it keyword, and then I'll have continent. All right, so inside of here I'm going to do a if statement. So this will check to see if my last filter is equal or not equal to the keyword that I had put in here. All right, so I'm going to say last filter keyword does not equal keyword. All right, how easy was that? Now we're going to put an or parameter in there, and we're going to say last filter continent, and guess what? We got to see if it's not equal to continent. All right, this is just checking to make sure that this is putting in the filter and not putting in something that was already there. Okay, so now inside of here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a new filter. So let new filter equal Wix data, and I'll go ahead and put that up there as well, so that it won't show up as an error or a bug. All right, so we're gonna go up here to the top, and we're going to import. Well, let me just go ahead and just use this easy thing right here. Import Wix data. All right, now I'm going to have to maximize this so that you guys can see everything on the screen. All right, so once we have that, what we're going to do is we're going to check and see if that. Okay, so I might have to bring this down again. All right. So what I'm doing here is I'm creating an if statement inside of here for the filter itself. So if there is an item, or if you have typed in an item in keywords, all right, so you're going to check keyword. All right, if there's an item in this search box, all right, then what we're going to do is tack on the filter for that. All right, so we're going to say new filter dot contains, okay, and then we're going to go to article title. That's just one of my name of the fields in there, okay, and then we're going to put the string keyword. All right, And then we do the same thing for our drop down. All right, so we do the if statement for continent. All right, if the continent is there, right here, this drop down, if the continent is there, what we're going to do is we're going to do a new filter equals new filter dot, guess what, contains. All right, contains, and then I'm going to do it based upon my field name, which is continent, and I'm going to label this continent. All right, so once you have that, then you want to actually set the filter to the database. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do dataset one dot set filter. Okay, just scroll down right there, and then we're going to put in new filter. All right, so that actually helps us get through our troubles. All right, so now once you finish that filter, okay, what we want to do here is take that keyword there or that continent and apply it to the last filter keyword in the last filter continent. All right, so we're gonna have to put that there. So we're gonna do last keywords. All right, which I think I'm gonna change that to words so it can be consistent. No, sorry, I'm gonna change this to be consistent. All right, so we can make it consistent throughout this whole thing. All right, keywords. All right, equals keywords. All right, and then we're gonna do last continent equals continent. All right, just so that we can check it again next time to see if it does not equal each other. All right, if it equals each other, then there's no point in running the filter. That's why we have that parameter up here. Okay, so boom, we already got one part of it down. Now this is just to filter the data set. Okay, we haven't even got to the non-duplicate items, so we're gonna get there just as quick. But right now we have to lay out the foundation. I'm showing you guys how to lay out that foundation to build up a nice filtering process. Okay, so next what we want to do here is we want to load up the continents. Okay, and by that what we're going to do here is we're going to create a function and we're going to call it load continents. Now we're getting to the juicy part that we all came here for this video. All right, so we're going to say load continents. We don't need a parameter. It's okay if the parameter is still there, just make sure that you don't use it. All right, so Wix data, and then we're going to say dot query. All right, the query that we're going to excuse me, the query that we're going to filter through or to find is countries. Okay, we're going to go through countries. All right, and then once we have that, we're going to set some limitations to this. Okay, so we're going to set the limit to 1,000. All right, 1,000 results that you can possibly get from the query. Okay, the max possible results, which I have 1,000 items in countries. Okay, the countries data set. All right, and so what I'm doing here is I'm just laying down the foundation to take out the non-duplicated items and just return all of this distinct items. Just remember that word, distinct, okay, because we're about to use it. All right, so I'm going to put this into ascending order based upon the continent. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and put distinct on here, and distinct is going to be looking at continent. All right, you don't have to worry about the options. You can definitely go ahead and check those things out in the Wix references, API references, but right now we don't need to use that. All right, so just go ahead, label the field. So this is the field parameter, okay, that you're pulling from inside of countries. All right, once you get that distinct, you want to then get those results. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to put some parentheses around here and we're going to say results. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and do this, press enter just to space it out. I'm just going to get rid of that. Okay, and then tab over. All right, so what we want to do here is now put this into an array of items. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to map those items on to what can fit for these options. Okay, so what do I mean by options? I mean options as in when you go to that drop down, which is S continent, all right, and you go to dot options, these are what sets or gets the drop down. Okay, and we're going to be setting that drop down based upon the value and the label. Okay, but in order to get the value and the label all fixed up correctly, we have to pull the results in and map it to make sure that the value and the label are the same value. Okay, so let's go ahead here and we're going to go ahead and say let distinct list equal, and then we'll bring in another function. Okay, and this function is going to be is going to be a mapping function. Okay, and I'll show you guys what I mean by mapping function, because this mapping function is used to build like this option list that I'm about to display for the S continent. Okay, so in order for you to filter by those non-duplicate values. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to pull in results dot items. Okay, and then we're going to say dot map. All right, it's going to give you a function already. You might as well just get rid of that stuff because we don't need it right now. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to say cur, which this is in my place right now, what I have to do, and it's just an alias value that you're putting here. I could put it as just element, which I'll just keep it as element. All right, and then what you can do here is put that element in here. All right, so what we're gonna do here is say, let's see, we're gonna say return, and we're gonna return just that object. Okay, and that object is gonna be label element. Okay, so we're putting that element in there for label, and then also we're gonna say comma value, and we're gonna put, guess what, the element in there again. All right, once we got that in there, then we're able to push that or map it into this distinct list. Okay, this distinct list will then be used to pipe into our options. All right, but before we do that, we need to have some type of value that will deselect the selection that you have made. And so what we're going to do here is create distinct. All right, and we're going to say dot unshift. Okay, that means we're going to add a new item to the beginning of the list. All right, and what we're going to do here is we're going to say value is equal to nothing. Okay, that means whatever it's searching is going to be equal to nothing. So it's basically you are saying like when you're filtering, you're filtering nothing. Okay, and that's what's going to come up in a second once I show you guys more to this. All right, so then you go here and you say label. All right, and your label is going to be considered all. All right, this means all continents. All right, we can even go even further and say just all continents for our users to see. Okay, and for them to use. All right, now we want to go ahead and make that now we want to push that array into the options for S continent. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, say options, and we're gonna set that to distinct list. All right, boom. Now we have our load contents. Now we want all of this to load when the website loads. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go up here to on ready function. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna wait until, no. Let's just go ahead and just do this. We're gonna load the continents, okay? So we loaded the continents. Now, what we need to do here in order to make everything work is to get the search by keywords figured out. All right. So what I mean by that is we're gonna have to go in here and do a on key press event. All right. So we're gonna do that, but before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and create a timer. All right, and I'm gonna call this on time. It doesn't really matter what you call it, but you just have to call it on time, okay? Or any other alias parameter that you want to come up with. All right, so that is what I called it. It's gonna be on time. Now, for on time, I need to go ahead and do the key press event. So I'm gonna get that key press event. I'm gonna shrink this down a little bit so it can be right on top of it, or space it out a little bit. All right, so in this key press, okay, we're gonna check and see if on time has anything, okay? So if on time has anything, all right, we're gonna go in there and we're gonna clear that timeout, all right? Because we're making a timeout in order to capture every single typed up word, okay? So we're gonna say clear timeout, and we're gonna just put inside the parentheses on time. All right, then we're going to go ahead and say on time equals undefined, so that it specifically is undefined for the next set timer. All right, now get to the juicy part of this keyword press. All right, now we want to set the timer, okay? And so we're gonna do on time is equal to set timeout, and that set timeout is gonna be looking just like a function, but instead what we're gonna do inside there is we're going to use the filter, okay? And we're gonna filter that by the S keyword, all right? And we're gonna say dot value in order to include that. And we're going to have in here last filtered continent, all right? This is because the last filtered continent you're going to be using because it's already been set up here, okay? Now, what we want to do here is we want to add the time. So we're going to do 500th of a second. So that means a half a second. All right. So half a second when you're typing in the keywords will then start filtering by that keyword value. Okay. Mind you, that last filtered continent, if you start typing in keywords, it's going to do it by a blank. So that means the blank item is going to go in there. That means that the if statement up in the filter will not run for continents. All right. So here we are. Once we finish with that, what we want to do now is to do an on change event for this S continent drop down list. Okay. And then after that, we should be wrapped up and ready to go. All right. I shouldn't have said that. All right. So anyways, what we're going to do here is we're going to minimize this so I can get straight to the full list. All right. I'm going to say on change. I'm just going to click enter. All right. So for this on change event, what we're going to do here is we're going to make that a filter. Okay. And we're going to do it based upon the last filtered keywords. All right. and then the continent, okay, the S consonant value, which we had set by the distinct, and that's how we made the non-duplicate values. All right, so we're gonna say S continent. All right, don't forget the value. And once we have figured all of that out, it was time, I think, right now to go ahead and test it out. I think everything is good, nice and put together. Let me just review that real quick. Here's the full code. All right, just so you guys can get a glimpse at it. I'm going to put this code onto my website, so definitely check the description below. I have a link to my website where you can find this code there. All right, so that looks pretty good. I'm not really missing anything, I don't think. Let's just go ahead and minimize that. All right, seems about right. Okay, so now all I want to do is go ahead, I'm going to save this first. All right, and then I'm going to preview it. Okay, so we got our information here. Oh wow, this is a lot of information that I put in here. All right, so we have all this information, sweet, juicy information about each of our places here. Okay, you got Uganda, Australia, Mexico. All right, so let's go ahead and click on search by continent. Let's see if it did it. Awesome. So now we have is Africa, Asia, Australia, all the distinct values, okay? And we have all continents. So let's go ahead and check and see if this filter works. So I want everything from Australia. All right, so boom, everything from Australia is here. All right, this is Australia. All right, and then we're going to see Africa. How many things are in Africa? We got 3 things. Oh, actually 5 things in Africa. All right, Egypt, Tasmanian, Morocco, and Uganda. Nice. These are all articles from those areas. Nice. So it's definitely working. Now, if I want to get more in detail, like say for instance, I just search for shoes, right? So I go in here and I search for shoes. So I'm going to go in here and say shoes. And it should give me that. Oh, I forgot. And that's a good thing that I checked that. Okay. So reason why is based on what I have chosen inside of here is not to be that. What I mean by that is, let's go back here and we'll see that we're actually doing it based off the article title. All right, so this article title is what we're actually looking at, so that's why I didn't pick it up. Now I want to show you guys that all of these countries back here in my data set is now going to show up here. All right, so all of these are duplicates. You see that? So you have duplicate Europes, you have duplicate Australias, Asias, North Americas, Africa, and it all consolidated that by using that one parameter, which is distinct. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. Definitely give it a shot. If you have any questions, drop it below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And if you like this video, hit that like button. Subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.